Survivor All-Stars is widely considered to be the end of the old school era of Survivor. It brought an end to what many claim as the golden era. After 7 seasons of all new players, it was time to bring back the cream of the crop for a second shot to play. The first time to bring back a returnee into the game. It was an unprecedented move at the time for any reality TV show. So how did it all work? Let's find out. First off, I want to thank you all for supporting this channel. Subscribing, liking, commenting, and sharing are crucial to this channel's growth and making it all possible. If you want to do more to help keep this channel an all-star, then consider supporting us on Patreon. You get all videos weeks before they ever see the light of day here on YouTube, and you get to vote for which survivors I tell the stories of, and even get an exclusive Patreon-only video each month. Thank you for your support. Number 1, the thematic twist. The thematic twist for this season is quite simple. Let's bring back 18 players from the past 7 seasons and have them duke it out once again for $1 million. The premise is great on paper and it instantly makes you excited as a fan to even think about, and it was amazing for the first 4 or 5 episodes. However, the fact that everyone knew each other going into the season created some unique dynamics that may have been unexpected by the general audience and maybe even by the producers of the show when the season started. Anyone who won was being targeted first. Anyone who was super popular before the season was next to go. And since the 18 players picked were not on equal ground when it came to how the tribes were split up, some were targeted much earlier than they would have been had there been only 2 tribes, or if the tribes are all stacked differently, or even if all the winners were on one tribe together. Pre-game alliances became a big part of the season and why people were voted out, and it made it very hard for the show to tell a coherent story about why each player went home every week when a good chunk of the players were voted out due to things that had nothing to do with what happened on the island. It is an incredible premise that works out in the short term but fails in the long run due to things that happened outside of the 39 days on the island. The thematic twist for this season gets a 5 out of 10. Number 2, production quality. Production went all out for this season in a way that is just beautiful. From the opening scene with the Panamanian military giving them a cheesy escort, to the theme song incorporating sounds and imagery from the first 7 seasons, to the return of challenges from all those prior seasons, to literally doing an immunity challenge that was just a quiz asking questions about the first 7 seasons. They really thought about and planned everything. However, they did make a few blunders along the way that stopped this season from being the best one production has ever done. The edit is far too focused on Boston Rob despite him not winning. The tribes are split up in a way that is unfair. The casting picked about 2/3 of a good cast, and the other 1/3 makes you go, huh? They picked the rainy season in Panama, which they actively acknowledge in the show, to shoot, and it affects the mood of the season and the mood of the players. Tribal Council is super dark, and I mean that in a literal sense for us watching on TV, which has only looked good in my videos so far because I have been brightening the image, but here you can see just how dark it actually is when I don't brighten it at all. The whole incident with Suhawk could have been handled better by having a one-on-one conversation with her and not waiting until reward to have her air her grievances out in public. The merge didn't happen until 2/3 of the way through the game, and that delay to the merge inevitably hurt how the rest of the season plays out. But it is undeniable how much hard work and effort went into the season regardless of how things did fail along the way, and it does shine through many times all the good things. Production this season is a mixed bag, and it gets a 6 out of 10. Number 3, strategic play. Do you like pre-game alliances and biases against players based on how they did in prior seasons? If so, then you are in luck, as Survivor All-Stars is full of that. Outside of Boston Rob and Amber running the season with an iron fist, the strategic play was noticeably weaker than the previous amazing Pearl Islands and Amazon seasons that preceded it. People make dumb moves based on pre-game deals they made with others, and now they trust them when they shouldn't. Others get picked off for simply just having a pre-game deal. Some make rookie mistakes like getting deeply offended by how others think about them, and everyone seems content to just get picked off where they do for the most part without any real attempt to flip others, and the few who do try to flip others, it's way too late in the season, and while they're trying to bring some excitement into the game, it's squashed by the other players' complacency because they feel like they're safe because Boston Rob and Amber ran the season with an iron fist. The final 3 of the season are really the only people portrayed as playing good strategic games, but all the while, 90% of the credit is given to Boston Rob despite him not winning. There was a stride made in the game moving forward though, That being the idea of having a ride or die person that you can trust all game. If you two are properly matched, then you can essentially become a super player with 2 votes. While this idea was teased with other players in prior seasons, here it is solidified and it will be brought up in later seasons. Also, Amber winning by utilizing Boston Rob as a shield to do her dirty work and take all the heat, while not pretty, proves to be very effective, and the other winners in later seasons will use this as well. The strategic play does get a 6 out of 10. Number 4, the characters. When the characters were being characters, this season rocked. I can't name a single person on this cast who wasn't a character in some regard. Everyone loves giving good confessionals, playing it up for the camera, and just being themselves unabashedly, if not exaggerating themselves. You really see this through the first 4 or 5 episodes, as everything is just fun and crazy. Richard's shark attack, Rupert's terrible shelter, Rob and Amber are gonna do it, Jerry trying not to be a loudmouth, Lex and Colby's love shack, Boston Rob trying to show that he's a bigger man than every other man on the season, including Jeff Probst, and so much more. It isn't until the merge when it truly sets in that, oh, pretty much all the fun characters are gone now. Despite us having Lex, Kathy, Alicia, Sheehan, Big Tom, Rupert, Jenna Lewis, Amber, and Boston Rob, they're all just really shells of what they were at the beginning of the season or in their prior season. They seem worn down physically and emotionally, and they're just frankly exhausted at multiple points, and the elements they are living in combined with the cutthroat gameplay of Boston Rob and Amber really saps a lot of the character moments we had in the first half of the season. It's really telling when Rob Sesternino is voted out in episode 4, and Alicia literally says that what they need around the camp is more seriousness and less joking, and Alicia was wrong. Since the characters are so important to any season, their score gets twice the weight, and the characters here score a 7 out of 10. Number 5, the winner. This really comes down to your thoughts on Rob and Amber, because Amber as a winner is in large part thanks to Rob, and her entire story is centered on her budding relationship with him. Amber has almost no solo moments on the show and is only separated from Rob for 1 episode, and when they are separated, they both wheel and deal to save her, and it does work. Amber utilized a new strategy without ever fully realizing that that was what she was doing until Final Tribal, when she kind of does verbalize what it is. She has Rob doing the dirty work and taking more flack than she is, despite them both having done the same thing. Basically, Rob's out there making bigger deals that are hurting people deeper than Amber ever is. However, this season really is the story of Boston Rob, as he had twice the confessionals of Amber up until the last 2 episodes, where they basically went toe to toe for who would get more. Amber was the sweet one between the two of them and played the better social game, but she needed Rob's cutthroat nature to help make the smarter decisions on paper. So was the winner of All Stars satisfying? For most people watching, probably not, and that is to blame on the storytelling of this season and Amber's inability to properly explain her strategy of having Rob be her shield. However, it is possible she never thought about it in that way, since she's trying to verbalize this during a time of falling in love with the guy. They're still firmly in the honeymoon stage at this point. The satisfaction for the winner this season is largely dependent on your view of the love story, but it does get a 4 out of 10. Overall, with all of that said, should you watch Survivor All-Stars? If you've watched the first 7 seasons, then you've probably already seen the season, but let's say you haven't and you're planning on it. If you want to know how Boston Rob became the legend that he is, then this is the season for that as well. If you want to see a successful loving relationship start and that is still enduring to this day, then for sure. And of course, if you watch those first 7 seasons, you gotta watch it. Then this is a season I would probably recommend avoiding. It isn't a game changer for how the show is played, outside of now everyone worrying about anytime a guy and a girl talk in private and becoming the next Rob and Amber. Taking all of the scores, adding them up, and averaging them out, Survivor All-Stars gets a 5.8 out of 10. Tune in next time as we kick off Survivor Vanuatu Islands of Fire. Thanks for watching, and if you like the content you see here, then please support me and this channel on Patreon. Your financial support makes all of this possible, so thank you, and thank you for watching.